What's up everyone, welcome to the Velocity Online Racing Indianapolis 250 from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. After having raced at the road course last week with Matt Houston winning, we now got Oscar Fredriksson on the pole here. And he's going to lead the field to green, and there we go. Green flag is out over the yard of bricks for the first time of this race. And the green flag is in the air, and we are racing into turn 1. And there's already a couple cars going side by side there. Very hectic race start always at Indianapolis. But Oscar Fredriksson maintains the lead. We got Pablo Diaz-Frances in his draft here, trying to take over that lead. And we got Julien Altena also defending from Ivan G. Hernandez, I believe. Going into turn 3 for the first time. Probably one of the favorite overtaking spots on the track, together with turn 1. And after that first lap, Oscar Fredriksson still leads. Pablo trying to take over that lead, but here comes Julien Altena on the inside of Oscar Gonzalez, and also on the inside of Pablo here. And he takes over P2, still side by side, but that position is his. And there's also some moves going on in the back between Robert Sadler and I believe his teammate Gary Gotzo as well. Quite a hectic opening few laps, as we see one of the Rob Car racing cars dive to the low side there. Not sure what that's for, but I assume the battles there are pretty tight. Julien Altena also getting past Oscar Fredriksson, also racing for Rob Car Racing. And the caution is out, it appears, on lap 2 of the race. And we're gonna see what it is for. This is the first incident of this lap, and you can see Gary Gotzo making contact with Tyler Bloom. The caution didn't come out for that though. This is the wreck that caused the caution. This was between Joe Barillo Garcia and Jamie Jenkins. Just a really unfortunate incident, but Jamie Jenkins was deemed at fault for that incident. Going to lap 6 now. Yeah, not exactly sure what this this is all about, but not sure who that was, by the way, but it is assumed that he thought the field was going, and apparently no one did, and he had to slam on the brakes, and everybody behind him slammed on the brakes as well, and it was just a big mess there on lap 6. But on lap 9 the restart much cleaner, and the field goes into turn 1 for the first time since that first caution came out. Going to lap 13 now then, and this is Pablo Diaz-Frances following Julien Altena in his draft, probably trying to save some fuel because he's not making any effort to pass him. Just letting Julien lead those laps. And we're going a few laps further now. Can't quite tell who these cars are, but there's 2 people going side by side, which is pretty impressive around turn 3 with the tires going off quite a bit now. But looking from Davies' car, Max Davies, one of the new drivers in the league for this race. Having a good run so far, running well inside the top 10. Looking at Robert Sadler here in the back of the pack. And it is pretty tight here. We've got one car on the inside line who is a little bit off the pace, and there's contact between Yashish Manohar and someone else. Nothing significant really happened there, no damage for any of the cars in that collision, so everybody can just continue without any issues. But this pack is really getting held up by, I'm not quite sure who it is. It might be Ryland in the number 42. Can't quite tell who that is. We got a lot of new cars in the field, so it's really difficult to tell these cars apart with not really knowing their names too well. So I apologize for that. But going to lap 34 now, Ivan G. Hernandez and Oscar Gonzalez pitting in for the first pit stops of the race under green flag racing. Everybody else around them pitted a couple laps later as well. And we now go to lap 39. And the car with the Graham Rahal livery, it looks like, goes into the wall. And Gary Gotzo nowhere to go. And yeah, his race just goes from bad to worse, to be honest. He's been quick today, but luck really not on his side. He had some contact early on with Tyler Bloom, I believe. That was through his own fault, but in general, the luck has been pretty bad for Gary so far, so we really got a feel for him there. Had a good run this season, this race, sorry, and it's all been taken away pretty much. But going to lap 43 now, the restart, you can see Oscar Fredriksson from the pole here. He started the race, jumps the restart and gets an iRacing black flag, which he had to serve right on this lap as well. But going into turn 1, And the leaders are pulling away so much, it's unbelievable. I think that's Pablo Diaz-Frances leading right now as Julien Altena goes to the inside of Oscar Fredriksson. That is, I believe, as everybody behind is also getting past them. Tyler Bloom is in that mix as well. I think he's a lap down or two from that incident earlier on, and Oscar Fredriksson just dropping back a little bit. I think he knows that he's not really racing these people because of his penalty, so he's really just letting them go. And he does peel off into the pit lane to serve his penalty, which is, I believe, a 26-second hold. So that is effectively a 1-lap penalty. But going to lap 49 now, Pablo Diaz-Frances trying to hold it around the outside of Julien Altena into turns 3 and 4. Still going side by side. The momentum is on Julien's advantage though, but going on to the start-finish straight, the exit speed of the high line is significantly better than the inside line. And in general, running side by side is a lot slower. But Pablo Diaz-Frances makes the move on the outside into turn 2, and he gets that position about halfway through the race so far. As we see the first couple people pitting as well on the green now. This is Pablo Diaz-Frances overshooting his pit box a little bit. And then a lap later, Julien Altena doing the same thing, funnily enough. Both guys taking fresh tires and fuel. And they're both rejoining around the top 10 anyway. A lot of people pitted earlier than these guys. Pablo Diaz and Julien have been battling quite a bit in this race. So drafting up behind and actually saving a little bit of fuel too. So that allowed them to go a lap or two longer. But Julien Altena rejoins in P3 after overshooting his pit box. Rejoins behind Oscar Gonzalez and Pablo Diaz, who is surprisingly in the lead still. But this is Oscar going past Pablo here with ease, to be honest. Just letting him go there. Pablo just wanting to save some fuel perhaps. We are now on to lap 76 and everybody pretty much has to pit one more time. So we're gonna see what happens with that. Lap 77, Julien getting past Pablo here for P2. Oscar's has been leading the race for quite a bit, as we have the number 3 car passing Tyler Bloom as well on the inside with relative ease too. So yeah, pretty clean race so far, other than the couple cautions we had obviously, but that's to be expected from Indianapolis as Pablo Diaz goes around. There's going to be the final caution of the race. Really unfortunate for Pablo. Probably just a little bit too aggressive on the wayjacker. Just getting loose into turn 1. Back end comes around, sorry. And he just loses a lot of time and a couple positions with that as well. Perfect 360 pretty much though. We got to give him some points for that, I believe. But yeah, that caution did come out. So everybody now pits for fresh tires. Fresh tires and the draft is king around Indianapolis on the oval. So we're gonna see where everybody cycles out on the pits. We're now on board with the 42, I believe, of Ryland, that is. And with the final restart, a couple people stayed out. And those people are lapped cars, so they're gonna get waved by. And we are gonna prepare for a hectic finish. Track conditions, pretty cool for a summer day in Indianapolis, 78 Fahrenheit, which is 26 Celsius, so not too bad. But here we go, the green flag is out. Oscar Gonzalez leads the field to green once again, with 8 laps to go. Holding the inside with pressure from Julien Altena behind in P2. And we've got Pablo Diaz, who jumped the restart, by the way, up into P3. He's going to get penalized after the race for that. I believe that penalty is a 1-lap penalty, as well as an EOL for his next race. So Pablo Diaz in the battle for the lead, but he will not finish wherever he is right now. Unfortunately for him, but those are the rules, so he has to stick by them, and he didn't. So we're going to focus on the lead battle right now. And I believe Pablo has actually taken over the lead, so this is going to allow Oscar Gonzalez to draft up behind him. And this shot is absolutely beautiful of the field just racing into turn 1. A little bit of cloud cover now as well, by the way, so that should improve the racing a little bit. With 7 laps to go, there should be a little bit of pack racing on this oval, which is pretty unrealistic, I have to say, but it's pretty exciting to make for a good finish. And this is Oscar Gonzalez taking the lead from Pablo, who is now again under pressure from Julien as well. And it appears to be Ivan G. Hernandez in P4 right now, having a really good run so far this race. Not really had the best of seasons. He did have a really strong run earlier on when he joined the league, but unfortunately for him since then, the results really haven't been showing what he's capable of, and it's really good to see him back up there, fighting for the top 3 spots. Sitting in P4, just waiting for his time. And Pablo, of course, has that penalty as well, so he is pretty much running in 3rd position right now. As the pack up front is really tight together, as Oscar Gonzalez, oh my god, goes around the outside of Pablo there. And he had to check up a little bit there, and Julien now takes over P2 as well. On the high line, getting into the grey area, but surviving that bit. And everybody's being really aggressive, 3 wide across the out of bricks now. Julien Altena on the inside, trying to take over the lead. And it is still 3 wide. Oh my goodness, this racing is incredible so far. And we're gonna hope that these people know how to race each other clean. We saw at Auto Club Speedway, the first race of the season, that pack racing is really exciting, but everybody just gets really impatient on the final few laps. I remember me, Julien Altena, had a little bit of a collision with, I believe, Luis Gonzalez, who is not racing in the league anymore. He sadly left. But that battle at the end was really hectic and really chaotic. But it does show that pack racing can be done clean with the right people. You know, at the end of the race, of course, everybody was just bunched up together. So collisions are pretty much bound to happen. But anyway, back to this race. Lap 97 now, 4 laps to go. Oscar Gonzalez still leading from Julien Altena and Pablo Diaz-Frances, who is now tucking out of the draft. Going to the outside again, 3 wide, and Julien Altena on the inside. And oh, this is so damn close, man. And Oscar had to back out of that a little bit as well, and that in turn held up Pablo too. And Ivan G. Hernandez is now caught up to this battle as well, as we got Max Davies as well having a little look in P5. And this is Pablo Diaz going to the inside and to the lead for a brief moment. But he does lose a little bit of momentum though on the inside there. The high line gets the momentum off the turns. The low line has the momentum into the turns. But everybody's still drafting up behind each other. Still having a great battle to the lead. 3 laps to go now. And Pablo and Oscar are still battling for that lead. As Julien now seems to be losing a little bit of momentum. But here goes Oscar to the inside of Pablo. 2 laps to go this time by. And there you go. Oscar to the lead. Pablo losing a little bit of momentum, but again picking up that draft right away and slingshotting his way down the inside here for turn 2. And once again retaking the lead. Julien Altena is now under significant pressure from Ivan G. Hernandez though. The car 31 has really been suffering some tire wear later on in the race. I assume everybody else around him has as well, because the pack racing has been really asking a lot of the tires lately. So we're gonna see who managed the tires the best. White flag is out now for the final lap of the Indy 250 in Velocity Online Racing. Pablo Diaz-Frances leads lap 99 of the race, but lap 100 is the one that matters. So Oscar Gonzalez on the outside here, having the momentum coming off the turns, and he's gonna probably take the lead here into turn 3, as I'm pretty much losing my ability to speak right now. This racing has really been intense. Ivan G. Hernandez to the outside now for P3 in the race, and it looks like he's got that position, as Oscar and Pablo are setting up for a photo finish right here. Coming off of turn 4, 2 rows of 2 wide, and Pablo Diaz loses the rear end, and he luckily catches it, but he's gonna lose a lot of positions there. Oscar Gonzalez wins the race, the Indy 250, and he's gonna take over the championship lead once again. Ivan G. Hernandez takes P2, Julien Altena P3, and Max Davies takes P4 with Pablo Diaz coming home in P5, but that penalty is gonna drop him back significantly in the field. Before we go through the race results, we gotta mention this photo finish between the number 12 and the number 3 as well. Really tight racing, so good job to Oscar on finishing ahead. Oscar Gonzalez doing the donuts here, hitting the walls. He doesn't care. He's just so happy that he won the Indy 250. So congratulations to him. An excellent race from him there. Leading the championship by quite a few points right now. So yeah, coming into this race, the gap was 2 points. Coming out of this race, the gap is 11 points to Julien Altena in P2 right now. So the championship is still all to play for, but it is looking to be in sight for Oscar Gonzalez. So yeah, we got 2 races to go. Next week we head to Texas. I say next week, it's actually tomorrow. And the season finale at Kentucky Speedway, the Legacy Oval. So 2 races to go. 2 very intense races for the championship perhaps. So we're going to wait and see what happens there. Thanks for watching and see you all next week for Texas.